patterns that would occur in this match would favor them. Ecuador right now is in, but that could change. And just to give you an idea, Ian, we're even talking about the possibility of a coin flip to decide between Brazil and Ecuador who would move on to the next stage. That's how close this group has been.
Yeah, it's really incredible to see how close it's actually ended up. Obviously, some fantastic football being played by these youngsters, and the level of the game has been risen so highly, and the competitiveness between the countries has grown even closer. So when you go up against a Peru match versus a Brazil team who should be qualifying very easily, but now it's such a competitive environment. Teams are not going down easily without a fight.
Again, Argentina is already eliminated, finally getting their first win yesterday when it was too late to count. Brazil helped themselves in their last match. We'll go through that. Julião, who has taken over that right back spot from Wallace, the Chelsea to-be product, along with the captain Luan in the back. Candido in the midfield joining Misael again. Rafinha getting his second straight start. Here for Peru is Daniel Ahmed, the 47-year-old Argentine, who is getting his credentials checked. Happens to everyone. Pretty much sticking with that same lineup, which is an interesting 3-3-2-2. And up front, Edison Flores, Jordi Reina, and Christian Benavente especially, the Spanish-born Real Madrid product, has been outstanding. Did not start the first game, but ever since he stepped in, Peru's offense has been on fire. Good look at the huddles as these two teams get ready. Brazil in that 4-4-2. The two holding midfielders, Misael and Lucas Candido, both doing well, but it does seem to take a little bit away from the attack. There are no Neymars, Ian. There are no Lucases. There are no Oscars. And this is a Brazilian side, three-time champion, that could be beaten by Benavente and company.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And we talk about the quality of the players that are on the field right now. The level has been raised. There's no doubt about it. And the gap is much closer than it ever was before. But the Brazilian team are still got some quality in amongst their talents. And they go into the game today as favourites.
The San Juan del Bicentenario getting set to start this one out. Again, the rain a couple of days ago during Peru's tough stretch against Venezuela, cooling things down a touch. And as you take a look how compact, both north and south and east and west, Peru starts out. Kind of brings back memories of Bielsa's 3-3-1-3, but however it works for Ahmed, he'll take it. Now Brazil does have, at least on paper, the names. Rafinha for Barcelona, Felipe Anderson for Santos, Bruno Mendes, who has played so well since stepping on for Botafogo, but it just seems to be lacking that little something. Almost as though the Brazilians, rather than take a risk, are more afraid of making a mistake.
Well, when there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders and you're expected to do it ever so well, it's always very difficult. And obviously for these teams, the pressure is there. Their countries are standing behind them. They expect big things. And for Brazil in particular, there's a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Today's a big game. You have to qualify, but you can never, ever rule out the Peruvians.
First minute winding down. As you can see, some of the fans have made the trek. This San Juan and Mendoza location, western Argentina, actually closer to Peru than it is to Buenos Aires. Off to the near side, giving chase Diego Chavez, nicknamed Dakar, which is quite appropriate this time of year in South America. The 19-year-old from Ica, providing a spark on that left back situation. Normally a right back for Universitario, though. Thrown in over Misael, slamming it high, Luan. Trying to settle is Inestrosa. Back for Mansour. Mansour started strong, but has shown more and more weakness as this tournament has progressed. But then again, Ian, it's not easy. Mentioned the fact that the early parts of this tournament would kick off, it was still 100 degrees or close, and they're playing every other day. Into the corner.
Oh, absolutely.
Flores.
You talk about the schedule. I mean, as a professional player and as young players, you always look forward to getting on the field, but it takes a lot out of your body when you're playing every second day. Very taxing for these young players, but They have one goal in their mind, and that's to qualify, to make it to the next level and go on to the championships.
Well, just to give you an idea, at kickoff here today, it is a nice, cool and chilly 90 degrees, 32% humidity. The other thing to consider, it's also 2,000 feet above sea level, but that has not seemed to slow these kids down, and they will get a break if they advance. They'll actually have a 2-day window in between matches once you get to the final stage. Nice turn by Leandro, but can't find a mark. Quickly out to the near side. You can see the speed of Jordi Reina. His nickname is Rocket, and he's ready to burn. Coming back, Reina keeping it alive. Off to the near side, Edwin Gomez, but a little too tricky for his own good. Julião, not the fleetest of foot, but normally a good service, not this time. Chavez. Campos comes out of his box into the middle and trying to step up Candido. Not exactly the direction intended. Now a launch forward. The flag comes up. A good opportunity for Reina, and you do kind of get the feeling with Reina on one side, Flores on the other, and Benavente in between. If they can find a gap on that Brazil back line, Peru could be on the right side of the scoreboard.
Well, you can already tell with the formation that Peru have set up, they're making it very compact and very difficult for Brazil to play through. It's always going to be difficult for the Golden Team, trying to break through that strong defense as well that Peruvians possess. But keep an eye out on the breakaway. When Peru win the ball in midfield, they're playing a little bit more direct and trying to use that pace to the best of their advantage. This will be a very difficult game for Brazil today.
Getting set for the final round of qualifying. Again, at least one, maybe two of these teams will be around. Ball spins away and grabbed by Campos, the Alianza Lima youngster. Action will start out in a couple of days in the knockout stage. The first match, Chile against Paraguay, will be a special gift on our beInSport.tv website with live streaming. The second and third right here on beInSport and beInSport en Español. So again, check out beInSport.tv for details. Candido trying to push it up the line, unable to do so. Deflected away for a Brazil throw. Good look at Bruno Mendes. Didn't start the first match, but the 18-year-old from Botafogo has taken over. And there, born in Alcalá, just outside of Madrid. His dad, a futsal player in Spain. His mom, a national team volleyball player. Benavente deciding to follow in his mother's footsteps, and Peru very grateful. Kind of funny, Benavente did not start the first match, and another highly thought of player, Andy Polo, the youngster out of Universitario, who's been rumored to be Europe bound for the last year, has not started any of the matches. Don't really need the blanket today. 6 minutes in the book, another throw in for Peru.
That's another good atmosphere in the stadium. It's always interesting when a youngster trying to shine and impress, and when there's people in the stadium, they're watching on. Gives you someone to impress in front of, and let alone all the scouts who'll be watching as well.
Back some of these matches, it seems like the scouts outnumber the fans. And with Argentina and Brazil struggling, some of these other youngsters from teams like Peru getting a good look-see. Inestrosa, the 19-year-old, already in Europe at Zulte Waregem in Belgium, where he's already started for the first team. Launched away by Luis Gustavo. And again, his clearances leaving a bit to be desired.
Well, that's it. You talk about these young kids becoming professional players, getting their opportunity already, and really taking full advantage of that as a professional player and a youngster. There's so much to play for nowadays, so much involved. High focus, not only on your country, but also your personality as a player. And when 20 years old playing in a championship, obviously qualifying stages, it's a massive opportunity to shine.
Good chance in Inestrosa again, launching it into the middle, giving chase. Reina on the near side, bouncing through, but unable to hold on. Now it's Brazil the other direction. Nice little flick by Mendes. Felipe Anderson Wide for Mendez again. Strong tackle by Marcos Ortiz. The Cristal youngster can't keep it in, but he denied Brazil there.
Yeah, a little skill from Hines Troza once again on the ball. Fantastic football. And Peru have definitely started the brightest of the two teams, linking some good passes together going forward. And in the end, some good defending from Ortiz, clearing the danger.
Throw in, taking their time. Julião. See that little Neymar starter kit atop the head of Felipe Anderson. I think they'd rather see a little Neymar in his boots, and that has not quite shown up yet. Julião, Anderson, Julião, good cross with the left, carries and deflected away. It'll be a corner kick. And again, you can see why Julião has displaced Wallace. And who knows, Chelsea's already picked him up.
Yep.
Maybe someone will follow suit for Julião.
A wonderful cross into the box, and that's good defending from Hines Troza just to clear the danger. You don't know what's behind you, you don't know if someone's going to attack the ball and come over your shoulders. So just clearing the ball away, doesn't matter if it's a corner kick, getting away from danger.
This will sweep in towards Angelo Campos. Just two men inside the six, they'll play it short. Back from Leandro, launched to the back post. Good hands by Campos, even as he's being bumped. Emerson Avila drawing a lot of criticism. Of course, there are nearly 200 million coaches in Brazil. Another steal, one back. Benevente's open, but it's Jordi to the near post, and he shoots it wide. Edwin Gomez, the 19-year-old out of Callao, Brazil at his mercy.
Well, he did ever so well, Gomez, to actually win possession of the ball. It's a wonderful punt up the field from the goalkeeper into the path. And just when you think Brazil are dealing with the danger, slack defending. You can't lose the ball in the danger area. There's no foul, and Gomez should have done better. But have a look at Benavente. As soon as Gomez picks up this ball, Benavente gets into the area, completely open for a strike. You've got to have better vision like that. When Gomez goes through on goal, you've got to really test the goalkeeper. Otherwise, you'll have to find Benavente, who's in a better position.
And again, sometimes with these youngsters, even on the senior level, if you have one of those star players, one of those cracks, sometimes you'll almost try and force it in too much, but that was one of those situations where it should have been automatic. Another giveaway due to the high pressure, and again, Brazil having a problem with this rather unique Peruvian formation. Nice control in the back by Guarderas.
You're exactly right, Phil. It's all about that composure on the ball, which often comes with experience, and as these kids go throughout their career, they start to gain that confidence and composure on the ball in the danger area. More and more games you play, the better you become.
There's a good look at Lucas Candido. Has not been the best of all possible tournaments for Candido or Brazil, but the one thing that you always remember in tournaments like this, if they get to the next phase and win it, their struggles in the group stage will be forgotten. It'll just make for another interesting chapter in the history book. Ball rolled back by Araujo.
It's almost as if Brazil don't really have too many ideas when they pick up the ball. It's very difficult to play against the formation that Peru have set out today, but some ideas are definitely lacking in the lineup. A little bit more hopeful rather than skillful. And that's unusual to see from a Brazil side.
Beautiful move again. But Brazil comes away with it, launching it forward. 2-on-2 isolation. Araujo going back against Mendez, and looks like he actually touches it, but it's going to be ruled against Mendez. Might have gotten a bit of a break there, the 18-year-old out of Huancayo. And you're right, something that we've talked about a lot in regards to Brazil. Normally, with the likes of a Neymar, Ronaldinho, some of the other players who have launched themselves in this tournament, if anything, they try a little too hard to impress. It looks as though this Brazilian squad is more trying to avoid making mistakes. Launched forward, good control. Anderson blasted just wide of the post. Got the shot off quickly with the left. Almost caught Campos by surprise.
Great skill from Anderson. And the way to bring the ball under control is the best. That's absolutely fantastic. And it's a wonderful build-up play once again. Great skill, wonderful delivery. The first touch is fantastic. It takes you past the defender, and it's not a bad strike at all. And that's the first time we've actually seen some idea from the Brazilian players going forward that they can create.
Launched into the center circle, but too far. That three-man back line being tested. They're a collision as they both try and win it. And they're actually going to say Leandro threw himself in front. Threw a bit of a break there. Normally defensively, you try and take a look at how many offensive players are coming and add one. Against Brazil, sometimes you might be tempted to try and double that, but not today for Peru. Still loose on the far side. Good control in tight space and swinging it over to Gomez. Another chance, Benavente. Oh, sweet balance. Wide for Jordi Reina. Reina wins the throw in. Only 5'5", the pocket rocket. But again, it's Peru that seemed a bit more dangerous, but for that one shot from Anderson.
I like what we're seeing from Reina so far in the early stages. Very quick, very talented on the ball. Sometimes you see how the youthfulness in his play, wrong decisions. Also trying to take a few chances, but that's what you want to do. You can afford that as a wide player going forward. You can afford to take risks. Great skill here once again, as you can see, a little cheeky nutmeg. No doubt wins a free kick.
This is a tight angle, almost 50 yards from the center, but a poor swing by Anderson almost puts it in there where Peru wanted. Now a chance for Brazil on the break, though. And again, the defense holds strong. Another chance and a good opportunity. Flores on his left. Gustavo with the save. Doria clears in his bumps. No whistle. He's looking for one, but Brazil dodges another bullet.
Well, that's incredible. One ball swept through into the attack, and Flores is on the end of it. And you can see how much it means to these two teams here. The energy in the game right now is frightening. But what a chance it was, really. It was one simple pass over the top, and you can see the slack defending. No concentration, and he's played onside, and it's a wonderful opportunity for Flores. But again, it's that composure on the ball, the skill and the self-belief that you can put it in the back of the net. And it wasn't a good strike, but thankful Gustavo was there for Brazil to clear the danger.
And I've liked Doria throughout this tournament, but that is not the first time that lazy line keeping has put Brazil in danger. Quarter hour in the book, more of the chances for Peru, but no chances for either side have found the back of the net. Off the restart, Julião into the 18. Leandro, the youngster out of Grêmio, good control, deflects away. Down goes Mendes, whistle silent again. Fighting for it in Estrosa and finally cleared away, and another chance on the far side. Giving chase Mansour. Reina toying with him at the moment. And through the legs, but knocked down. But they're going to say not enough contact for a foul. He's come with a bag of tricks.
Just went down a little bit too easily there, otherwise he would have won that free kick. You're exactly right, Phil. Great skill, great technique, and he's got that ambition. You can see the desire in his play. He wants to be something special, and he's not willing to give it up very easily.
Again, think about this. We saw it earlier with Inestrosa, those little back heel flicks. It's coming from Peru, not Brazil today. Julião. This is a different look, and I think it goes all the way to the top. But Ahmed even doing a little bit different than the selection for Peru. That 3-3-2-2. Ball launched forward. Brazil will bring it down. Don't forget beInSport.tv for all of your scheduling news and video details. And as well, a couple of days from now, we'll have that Chile-Paraguay game in a free streaming preview for anyone who wants. As the knockout, or should I say the second stage, continues. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook and get involved yourself. Interested to find out who your thoughts are, and offside against Reina again. Be interested to find out who the viewers' viewpoints are about the best 11 through the group stage so far. Might even be more Peruvians than Brazilians at this point. And again, Doria keeping it a lot closer than it probably should be.
Oh, unbelievable. It really is slack defending. As that last defender, the communication between the players next to you is so vital and important, making sure that you're playing that player offside. And again, that lack of communication, we're actually seeing from Brazil, not only the first time in this tournament, but again, Peru need to be smart. They've got pace, they've got skill, and with the pace that they do possess, you should never be in that offside position. You always have a chance with a yard or two of getting to the ball first.
Again, we're talking about a Brazil side that has won the last 3 championships, 11 championships overall, against a Peruvian squad that has never finished better than 3rd. Even more impressive, since this tournament has gone under 20 to sync up with the World Championship, Ian, Brazil has never finished out of the top 4. And they risk not even making it to the final stage if they stumble here today. And again, a scoreless draw will not help. They need at least a goal to keep alive any hope. We'll reset the scenarios in just a little bit. Ball launched forward, again testing Araujo. And he'll just launch it back. It'll be a throw-in for Brazil. Earlier today, Uruguay coming back from a goal down late to tie Venezuela. Uruguay, who led the day, coming in danger of being eliminated, but they fought back. Venezuela already eliminated. Ecuador does not play today, as there are 2 5-team groups. There's always going to be a team on a bye, but Ecuador at this point still in, and I'm sure they're hoping for a 0-0. Peru has the tiebreaker, first tiebreaker goal differential. Next is goals for. And as long as this ends in a tie, Peru is going to finish on the positive end. It's how many goals are scored that will help Brazil.
Well, that first goal is going to be the most vital goal, really, where it comes from. The way Peru have started the game, they started it with a lot of energy and taking it to Brazil.
Another chance off to this near side. Cutting in is Edwin Gomez. See the A on his back. That's for Alexi, his middle name. Didn't realize that Lalas had a fan club in Peru.
Alexi has fan clubs all over the world.
20 minutes in. Up for Inestrosa. Then again, you never know. Might have been a crazy night in Miraflores. Benaventes. Back to Araujo. Under pressure, Campos, and he's handled it well so far. Little bump by Luan. Carries for Doria. Chips it for Juliao. Little bump off the shoulder from Yori Reina. That might be close, but you don't want to get a cheap yellow card at this point.
Well, look at the energy. Just the energy. He's not allowing anything to go to waste, and this is a nothing ball. You're not going to win it there. And obviously, he's had great joy in possession already, taking the ball from the Brazilian defenders. So pressure all around the field has been fantastic from Peru. And Brazil just a little bit lackadaisical on the ball. Giving away possession far too easily. And look at the pure determination from Benavente. He's got the heart and passion for the game. There's no doubt about that.
More pressure, Juliao, but a weak pass. Not handled well by Chavez, who chases it down. The left back, if it would have been a back pass. Instead, now there's a big gap. Remember, only 3 in the back, but Brazil can't take advantage. Marcos Ortiz launches it to midfield. And again, you can see the class of Benaventes, and he's pulling away until he's finally pulled down. Good play by the kid from Alcalá.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you talk about that class, it's not only in the haircut, it's also in the talent and the boots. Great skill. And Brazil are really struggling to cope with him right now.
Moving upfield is Wilder Cartagena, the big 6-foot midfielder out of Alianza Lima, right at the top of the 18. Launched inside, but too close to Gustavo. Misael, the Dunga lock and load defensive midfielder, but they've actually been forced to push him upfield, almost as a playmaker, the Gremio man, over Bruno Mendes, who's Mop of hair could not knock that one down. Looking for Inestrosa, but launching it long. A little slip, maybe a bump, and they will get the call. And again, Jordi Reina in the center of things. That one leaving a mark. Of course, Group A already done. Chile, Colombia, Paraguay. Argentina finally got a victory. Bolivia, who held out hope. A narrow loss against an unbeaten Chile to start out, and then Bolivia actually drawing Argentina with an 87th minute goal. But then the doors fell off against Colombia and Paraguay, 11-1. Flag is down, 2 men in. Reina with help. Reina! Peru in front of Brazil.
Well, the celebrations are fantastic. And this is just a joy to watch. You're watching a talented individual with so much confidence. And the question mark is he offside? And the line is very, very close. But he's onside. Slack defending from the Brazilians once again. Very high line. But look at the composure. Once he goes through, and this kid's been on fire since the game started. Great attitude and skill. Benavente does ever so well to keep up with the run. And if Reina doesn't slot this into the back of the net, Benavente is giving him an earful. But that is a wonderful strike. And Peru getting their just deserved.
Diego Chavez, the left back, well, the converted right back, was the one who sent that one through. Might be the first time Universitario and Alianza fans would celebrate together, but at the moment, all Peruvian. And Brazil, well, in many ways, this doesn't mean anything. It's easy to say, but psychologically, it might be different. Ball around the 6, and finally Leandro ruled for a bump on Ortiz, and it looks like the Argentine referee Patricio Lustau not that happy pulling out the card. But Ian, you know what I mean? Brazil already knew they needed a goal. If they get a goal at this point, instead of automatically being in, they'd be in a draw with Ecuador, but they'd still be alive. Here again, we watch the pass from Chavez.
That's a wonderful ball. There's no doubt about it. But when it comes to the kid, Reina does everything right. Composure. What's been lacking in the game so far? He times his run to perfection. He's got the skill. He's got the composure and the vision. And the goalkeeper has no chance because of the classy finish. And we're looking at a fantastic player here. This is a wonderful kid with the right attitude. And he's got the skill to follow suit.
So again, for Brazil, can they maintain their focus? But right now, it's Peru that is running circles around them. Benavente on the far side, the early cross to the penalty spot, and the smallest kid on the field, Jordi Reina, almost had a second.
Well, you can see in the body language of the Brazilian players that they are struggling to cope right now with the energy that Peru are bringing to the game. There's just no competition. Great football, there's a lot of space in behind that Brazilian defence. And you talked about it, the smallest man on the field gets on the end of this cross, which should never happen. But it really is interesting, going back to your point, Phil, you know, with the points and how difficult it can be for Brazil in particular. They'll have the big picture in their minds that they can qualify. It doesn't matter what happens, but it's so important that they score goals. They've got to get on the score sheet. And obviously we talked about it with Ecuador sitting in a good position right now. If this game ends up in a 2-2 draw, it'll be interesting to see what the teams do then.
Well, 2-2 would be the Anschluss, if you want to put it that way. Reminiscent of that World Cup match between Germany and Austria. Didn't work out too well for Austria, who had the upper hand, though, coming in. Germany did quite well. And in many ways, you also think about it from a Colombia perspective. They didn't have that pressure last night because of the earlier result already eliminating Argentina. But from a Peru perspective, if you want to get to the World Championship in Turkey, which is easier? Brazil in the next round or not in the next round? Don't let them get back on their feet.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the football they've played so far, you can see in their vision what they've got. in front of their sights. Again, a little lack of concentration. You can see the difference there with the young player, just allowing the ball to go out of play far too easily. That experience on the ball. But it's right, they've got it in their sights. The competition is a big competition for these youngsters to shine, but they do see the big picture. To make it to the next round and qualify is so important and would be a wonderful achievement regardless of who you are.
Again, if there are yellow cards in this match, that would end up being the second in the group stage. Players would end up missing that first match in the final stage if there is one. Lustau trying to calm things down a bit between Chavez and Leandro. Chavez winning the battle and launching it forward. The discipline that Peru has shown to this point, and maybe that's not a good example in Estrosa lunging in, but the discipline to basically keep Brazil in front of them and stay compact has been impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you see the challenge there in Estrosa going flying into it. You have to be careful. Sometimes you get a little carried away in these games, especially when you're leading against Brazil 1-0. The Peruvians have to control the temper. And the formation that they've set out right now is working an absolute treat.
Goal from Reina putting Peru in front, and at this point the three-time defending champions would be out. Launched long, corner of the 6, carries over everyone, trying to keep it in Luan, but it just carried too much. And again, take another look at the goal.
Well, it's wonderful. It's a great through ball, and Peru have been known to do that, play a long ball over the top of the defence. Brazil have offside trap once again. They're trying to play too high a line, and they've left themselves completely exposed against very speedy players.
And this is something they do in Germany a lot also, Ian. You know, Brazil pushing forward when they see Benavente, when they see Flores or Inestrosa. But when you have a speedy player like Jordi Reina, he can start at the midfield stripe. He's still going to get there first.
Absolutely. You can give him 2 or 3 yards behind you and he'll still get there first because of the pace that he possesses. And that's the discipline that he needs to show to be able to keep himself onside.
Again, inside the area, the one thing Peru has to watch out for is committing a foul in the box. You don't want to give up an easy goal to Brazil. Ortiz getting the benefit of the doubt there. 30 minutes in the book, Peru in front. And Ian, I don't know if there's a bookmaker on earth that would have even come up with a line a couple of weeks ago that at the end of the group stage, neither Argentina nor Brazil would still be around.
No, unbelievable. It really is. And there's the gap. That's what we're talking about. The gap has really closed so much for these teams. And the lesser countries that, so to speak, haven't had so much success with bringing youth players through their ranks are now starting to change. They're investing more money in younger players. And the game is such high exposure now that there's a lot to aim for. And these players are absolutely fantastic. And Peru are taking it to Brazil right now, and deservedly so.
About 50 yards from the center of the goal, the ball launched in. Doria goes down, but again, no sympathy for the Botafogo kid.
Well, again, it's that discipline, and really it's a nothing challenge. There's definitely contact made in the box, but it's not enough to merit a penalty kick, and to dive to the ground like that. Never in a million years are you going to be able to dupe the referee.
Although that is something, you don't want to let the referee decide your fate for you. And Peru may be a bit naive. We saw that in their last match. Peru again with a chance to clinch a spot in the next round against Ecuador, surrendering 2 late goals. Flying forward, Chavez, and he lands awkwardly. Anderson also feeling the brunt of this one.
Well, there's no doubt it's a late challenge. But going back to the challenge in the box, it's a lack of discipline, and it's also a self-belief issue as well as a player. And it shows signs of desperation that you're trying to dupe the referee into making a decision. And that's what I've seen from Brazil so far in this tournament. They seem to lack that little bit of discipline and composure and self-belief in themselves that they can go on and be a successful team, because they do have quality players. May not be the Brazil that we've seen of recent years. And of course, when you're under pressure and your whole country's got high expectancy, you make some silly decisions at times.
Chavez, who's done well. Anderson, who seemed to start to come out of his shell in the last match. Both will have to exit as they had to stop the clock. So 10 on 10 for a brief period. And from Peru, I have a feeling Ahmed has to be loving life right now. Half hour in the book. Not only are they in this match with Brazil, they're in front. Julião wants it on the near side. Misael to the middle. Rafinha dispossessed, and here comes another red tide. Nostrosa tried to get tricky with that back heel again. You don't want to pull out too many tricks against Brazil. They've seen them all. Leandro dispossessed, but out for a Brazil throw. Another chance in the middle. A little fortunate that time. Cartagena, another chance and another collision. This time it's Guarderas going down and Brazil with the throw.
Well, it's disappointing from Guarderas. He does ever so well to win possession of the ball. It's a lack of concentration. You got to get rid of it pretty quickly in that midfield.
Felipe Anderson laying it off. Doria again deflected wide. The defender from Botafogo actually saw one of those almost go in earlier in this tournament. Third time they've tried it.
Well, this is where I think Brazil can be effective on corner kicks. They have big numbers, they have big boys. Put those boys in the box and put a good quality service in there. Let them attack it.
From the corner, Anderson bounces all the way through, still loose, and finally slammed away from Doria. I think it was Ortiz who launched himself. Another collision as Araujo gets there, still in play. Up the line, Brazil comes away with it. Peru, just 10 minutes left. Don't want to surrender a goal just before the break. We've seen a few of those this tournament. Another collision on the near side, and it's going to be a foul against Gomez.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not a yellow card as well against Gomez. It's a late challenge. And I say it's a typical challenge, and you go in to try and retrieve the ball in the wide position. You're always going to end up late when you dive and leave your feet off the ground. Gomez lucky to escape.
Well, in that match against Venezuela, who arguably, and doesn't take that much of an argument, outplayed Brazil in a 1-0 loss in the last match. A penalty just before the break converted by Felipe Anderson. Rafinha to the 6, punched strong by Campos. Launched back high into the air towards the 18. Trying to settle Peru, but Felipe Anderson and company trying to turn it up. Drible do vaca, they say in Brazil. That cow, though, a little too big. And again, talk about that penalty just before the break. Deserved penalty, a little bit of a shirt tug on a set play. But that cost Venezuela a ticket to the next round and kept Brazil alive. And a yellow card for delay for Campos, it appears. The Argentine referee doesn't want any hint that he's favoring Brazil's opponents.
You can see how theatrical Campos is. He disagrees with that yellow card. There's no doubt he took his time on the ball. The referee showing who's boss.
A little flip on over Benavente. Doria sends it back, and Peru will take their time getting this one back in play. And don't forget, coming up in a couple of days, the first match of the next round. We'll see unbeaten Chile against Paraguay. A special free preview on our website, beInSport.tv. Check it out. beInSport and beInSport en Espanol will have the other two matches of that first round. Good games this weekend too. Roma, Inter, Real Madrid, Valencia. BN Sport and Espanyol, the place to be. If you have one, believe me, you want both, so contact your cable or satellite provider for details. Over Mendez, knocking it down Ortiz. A little too close to the Peruvian net for comfort. Misael, Jordi Reyna again. And again, a little reckless on that challenge. Quickly taken. Felipe Anderson to the far side. Mansour has not really pushed forward, and the passes have gotten worse as this tournament progresses. Reyna again looking for help. Dribbles his way through. Leaves it for Guarderas. Gomez, and a throw-in for Peru. Well handled.
A smart decision from Ahmed to leave Reyna as that lone striker up against these two big boys at the back for Brazil, because they're really struggling to cope with his pace and his energy and his bite. The aggression that the kid possesses makes him what he is. Pure determination.
You hear the screaming from the sideline from Avila. Beautiful pass, then flipped behind by Flores. Crossed into the middle. Luan will clear briefly. Benavides gives chase. Tripped as he wins it back. Guarderas still sneaks it across. Benavides gets behind him, almost keeps it alive, and then just pokes towards Luis Gustavo's net. Looking for a foul, but not going to get it.
Well, very important for Peru now to stand strong and have a lot of discipline in their play going into the halftime break, making sure you don't concede a goal. This is not the time.
Another ball pushed wide, a good chance on the overlap, but not enough on it, and Marcos Ortiz gets there first. And that will do it. No. Calls it the other way. It was saying it had crossed. Take a closer look. Appeared to be in, maybe curling as he launched it.
Yeah, there's no doubt it wasn't over the line when he struck the ball.
Bouncing inside dangerously. Guarderas let it hit the turf. Brazil will get another throw. High into the area for Mendez. Headed down by Ortiz. Launched upfield by Gomez. Jordi Reyna again.
Great skill.
Flores. Well, starting to see it, and the funny thing is, it's against Brazil. This is the best, or should I say, the most Peruvian we've seen Peru. Recognized as one of the best box-to-box teams in South America. Their problem has come in defending their net and attacking the other.
You'd have to say with the formation that they've set up, makes it very difficult to be that defensive team. So I'm not surprised to see them conceding goals, but it's a very attacking formation. What you're seeing is players getting up and down the line and doing ever so well. But again, when you're going up against a quality opposition who love to attack as well as Brazil are so famous for, defensively it can be difficult. But all the way in the first 40 minutes of this game, Brazil have had nothing to really test that Peruvian defense. And the quality that shines up front has come from Peru.
Letting it trickle. Chavez trying to find out which way it would go. And again, mentioned he's a right back. Brings it to his right dangerously, but then with a nice show of skill. Up steps Candido. Poked away. Chavez, and then flat-footed Anderson. It will trickle across, and now Campos will have a goal kick.
Well, it's too easy from Brazil. Just lack of idea, lack of creation in and around that last third of the field. And you can tell a lot about the body language of these players. Maybe it's the pressure that's been put on their shoulders to succeed and be successful. But it's shown in their play right now. They're just not confident.
Ball headed back by Misael. Trying to turn the corner. Almost getting it done. Again for Brazil. No argument from Gomez. Here's some of the Peruvian fans may be hoping for an early whistle. Mansour, who marauded in the opening match. A little surprised, maybe it shows the lack of depth on that left side that they haven't tried elsewhere. Launched in an easy grab by Angelo Campos. Two and a half minutes left in regulation. Candido launching it in the air. Rafinha tries to come away with it. The Barcelona boy, though, getting a little help from his friends. Little bump. Which way will it go? It goes towards Peru as Mendez doesn't get the call. Far side, Araujo. Moved to Sport Huancayo from Cobresal this past season. Have a feeling he's got bigger things in front of him. And again, the risk of another yellow card for delay unnecessarily. Good look at Rafinha. Won't happen this time around because Thiago's already 21, but his brother choosing Spain, he chooses Brazil. Kind of a feeling at some point in the Alcantara lifeline, those two will be fighting it out and maybe for a World Cup final. Stepping up Araujo. Dangerous Guarderas. Back to Doria. Near side, Julião. Beautifully delivered. Again, Anderson. Leandro in his center. He'll use it. Leandro in the box. Down he goes. Barely touched, and perhaps fortunate he doesn't get a card for a dive.
It almost looked like he lost his footing in the end, but again, Brazil leave themselves exposed at the back.
Jordi Reina, a one-man fast break, but right now waiting for a little help. Trying to bleed the clock a bit. Get up, says the linesman, but the whistle did blow from the ref. Wilson Ariano, a Bolivian. Of course, that's kind of funny. You have an Argentine reffing a Brazil game and Bolivians on the line for a Peru match. Not exactly an old boys club. Final minute of regulation. Maybe the assistant actually just a little too close. Brazil still in it. Peru pretty much needs to give up 2 goals to be eliminated, but better to stay in control. And again, they'll sweep it back. Alexi Gomez on his left rifles the shot towards the back post, and Gustavo screaming at his midfield for not closing down.
Yeah, Gustavo has every right to be frustrated with his teammates, and you can see them arguing with each other now. And there's that pressure seeping into the team. And it's shown on the field big time today.
Again, at this moment, if this match ended, it would be Peru, Uruguay, and Ecuador who would advance, and Brazil and Venezuela would be out. The Vino Tinto out by letting Brazil back in it just before the break. Let's see if Peru learned the lesson. Driving in on that far flank, looking for an opening. Mansour back to Doria. Launches it well, but a good step up by Gomez back towards midfield, and that will do it for the opening half. Peru capitalizes on Reina's speed. It's a 1-0 scoreline at the half. Got another 45 minutes to go. Who will get the final 2 tickets to the promised round?